I don't care how much he's good for. Every year, the front page is reserved for news, nothing else. If he doesn't like it, tell him to take his advertising to the Chronicle.
Busy, Sheldon?
Oh, hello, Mr. Cartwright.
This reorganization plan of Lowell's, a great piece of work. Intelligent and imaginative. It'll give my newspaper a new, exciting look, and it'll save us money. It's a model of efficiency.
Lowell's plan?
Yes, it wouldn't hurt you to study it. Sheldon, I'd like you to move Lowell in here with you. Work with him. Show him the ropes. Talent like his should be groomed for management.
Train him to step into my shoes, huh?
I didn't say that.
When do you want me to leave?
I want this plan put into effect next Monday.
What do you think about doing a follow-up piece on the Lake execution?
There's no news in postmortems. Don't you know executions are the end of the line?
Just a thought.
Laurel?
Dean, will you come over to my office? This will only take a minute.
All right. Black, a little late for him to be throwing his weight around, especially on my time.
Oh, I'm sorry to pull you away like this, Dean.
That's all right. Always got a minute for you, Sheldon.
Fine, sit down.
Well, I'm still fighting page 2. There's a lot to do before...
It'll keep. Sit down. By the way, I'll get rid of most of my personal stuff here before you move in.
No hurry. Take all the time you need.
Well, I'm sure you won't want any more reminders of me than are absolutely necessary. Well, unless you might want this golden ruler here. It's got a saying on the back. It says, do unto others.
No, thanks.
You know, I gotta hand it to you. You took my ideas, my work, my research, my thoughts, put your own name to them, sold them to the old man just as if you'd been born with them.
Whatever I did, Sheldon, I did for the good of the paper. Thing is, what are you going to do about it?
Probably nothing. I just may quietly get out of all this. You may have done me a big favor.
Is that what you called me in to talk about?
No. I want to talk to you about the execution of Joe Lake.
What about it?
Well, I've been wondering why you refused to correspond with him.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I got a letter from him this morning. He says he's written to you half a dozen times and you've refused to answer him.
I've got nothing to say to Joe Lake.
He says he wants to talk to somebody from the paper. He's got something important to say. I'd like you to go down and interview him.
Why me?
You're a friend of his. Probably confide things to you that he wouldn't to anybody else.
Who told you he was a friend of mine?
You got a short memory. There's an interview that you gave to the press the day you were decorated for bravery. And you're talking, you say, quote, I am deeply honored, well, et cetera, expected officer conditions of war. Oh, here. Were I not to speak a word of praise for my good friend, Lieutenant Joe Lake.
It was a long time ago.
So you're not a friend of his. We're still in the newspaper business. Here's a man in the public eye, writes to you. He's got something important to say.
Sheldon, don't you know that every crackpot on the brink of death thinks he has some great enlightenment to leave behind?
Dean, are you going to interview him, or am I?
All right. I'll handle it. sorry, Joe. I tried, Joe. I really tried. I was hoping for some good news before answering your letters, but there wasn't any. I even offered our lawyer a handsome fee out of my own pocket. He turned me down. He was convinced on the basis of the evidence that the governor would flatly refuse to commute the sentence.
What else?
I tried to get the paper to run a series of articles. I figured if we could play up your war record, attack the vague circumstantial evidence that was brought up at the trial, we might arouse public opinion. Well, the managing editor wouldn't go for it.
Go on.
I'm afraid that's it, Joe. There's nothing more I can do.
Well, I know you're telling me the truth.
Well, you don't. You just have to take my word for it.
Your word. Dean Lowell, national hero. He's afraid to open his mouth at the trial on my behalf because he might have to say too much about himself.
I don't like being blackmailed, Joe.
Now, don't you worry, Dean. I'll soon be out of your hair. Then you can go on being a hero who never had the guts to take a stand on anything except when I came to taking vows for something I did. How do you live with yourself?
Goodbye, Joe. God!
Why didn't you fight back? Why didn't you tell Cartwright that what that man sold him was your brainchild? Something you'd sweated over for months.
Fred, you're naive. You want me to tell Cartwright that his protege is a common thief? His old friend is a crook? What's holding up Lowell?
He's back.
Lowell's back.
Well, yes, I thought you knew.
Dean! Dean! What's the matter? Why don't you let me know you're back? You think I'm not interested?
There's nothing to tell. Lake's had it. He's going to the chair, and that's exactly what he deserves.
Man, you are pitiless, aren't you?
Look, Sheldon, the guy killed his wife. It was a senseless, brutal murder. He doesn't deserve pity.
I'm glad you feel that way, because I want you to cover the execution.
Oh, that's a bum joke, Sheldon. Any cub on the paper can give you adequate coverage.
I don't want adequate coverage.
Well, then you have to settle for the wire service.
I don't have to settle for anything. When you come into this office on Monday, you're in charge. Until then, I'm the boss.
But why? Why me?
Because in spite of what else I might think about you, I still think you're the best writer we've got. You'll give us a better story than any other newspaper in town.
Thanks. But you have to get yourself another man. I'm not going.
Dean! Look, I said that I probably wouldn't do anything about your little creative larceny. But you're making it kind of tough on me. You know, I got quite a file of notes and such that I made preparing your reorganization plan. You wouldn't want them to fall into Cartwright's hands now, would you? And let me tell you, I'm still in charge here. I intend to run this paper the way I see fit until I walk out that door for the last time. Now, I think it's a great story in that execution, and you're going to cover it.
Is that an order?
It's an assignment!
God, they're our lifeline. We gonna help them?
How can we? They haven't got a chance.
Well, it's up to us to give them one.
You out of your mind? We'd be cut down like weeds.
Give me a handful of men. There's not much time. Major, look, I'm not trying to be a hero. I just know that once they break through that line, we're next. Well?
How many men do you want?
All little volunteer.
Go ahead.
Thanks.
Yes? 8:30 Union Station? Yes, I'll be there.
Some of these guys would laugh at their own funeral.
Yeah.
Look at them, will you? They're like vultures. They come up here to these executions and get fat. That guy, he raises the prices and doesn't put out a dime extra for the help. Say, you're Dean Lowell, aren't you?
That's right.
I thought so. I'm Harry Fuller, the Chronicle. Mind if I ask you a question?
What is it?
Well, what's so special about this execution?
I wasn't aware there was anything special about it.
I'm not meaning to pry, Mr. Lowell, but this isn't the kind of a show that usually attracts the editorial carriage trade.
322.
Unless, of course, there's something more here than meets the eye. Just curious, pal.
Hi, Hopper. Oh, Fred, let me know when Lowell's story starts coming through, will you?
Sure. Oh, by the way, I reserved 2 columns in the headline.
I hope he fills them. You'll be putting tomorrow's want ads on page 1.
I'm not worried. I know Lowell. He thinks this curve you threw him was out of resentment. He'll play it right to the grandstands.
Cartwright? Fred, you were in the Army, weren't you?
Now the Marines.
Did you make any friends while you were in?
Sure. A couple of the guys I still think of as brothers. Ed Schaefer and Matt Baskin. We made the grand tour together. Canal, Tinian, Tarawa.
Let me ask you something. Do you think anything could happen that would change your attitude toward these men?
Like, for instance?
Like, for instance, maybe a murder charge against one of them?
Yeah, I figured you'd say that. Well, I don't know. There's one thing I do know. I do everything I could to help. I try to understand, and I...
Yeah. Well, let me know about Lowell's story.
Sure.
I guess they've all gone over there.
That's right. You better get moving too, Mr. Lowell. You're going to miss the big show.
Big show, is that what you call it?
This your first execution?
Yes.
I don't envy you. Watching a life snuffed out right in front of your eyes, it's no picnic. Sometimes it takes more than a fella's got.
Didn't seem to bother those men tonight. Matter of fact, they seem to be having themselves quite a time.
You're wrong, pal. They weren't having themselves a time. Every one of them was nervous as a cat. And those jokes, they were just trying to laugh the knots out of their bellies, getting themselves ready for what was ahead. And from what I hear about those executions, I can't say I blame them. I hope you got a strong stomach.
Well, I'll let you know after 12 o'clock.
Looks pretty close to it now. If you're not ready yet, friend, you better go as is and take pot luck.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Oh, just remember one thing. When it happens, think of something else. Anything except what's going on. That way it won't be so tough.
Thanks.
It helps. I know, because I do the same thing myself.
You know when it's happening.
Everybody in town knows. All you gotta do is watch the lights go dim. That's what happens when they throw the switch.
Next scores in yet?
Well, except the Cardinals and the Braves, they're in the 16th inning.
What a game. Copy disc all set up for Lowell?
It's all set.
20 to 12.
You're worried about this paper as if it were the first edition you ever put out.
It's my last.
Give me copy. Well, Kelly? Just wanted to see if you were awake. See that I get a proof on the Lowell story the minute it's run off. Thanks.
At exactly midnight last night, a society which had virtually brought him into the world snuffed out the life of Joe Lake, convicted white slave. Behind the grim walls of this prison, I watched Joe Lake as he walked towards the tiny room where his life would end.
Heroism, which had won Lake countless accolades for bravery in combat, again asserted itself in the pale green enclosure which forms Stateville's grim crucible of death. To live a hero is expected of every man. To die a hero.
Mr. Black, this just came in on the wire, sir.
We'll try the press club. I'll hold on. Never mind, he just came in.
Morning, Fred. You're early.
Beginning to like my work. What's happened to you? I'm trying to call your home since early this morning.
I spent the night in Stateville. What's all the urgency?
Black wants to talk to you.
Oh.
It's pretty important.
Well, have you got anything to say?
Well, I was under the impression you had something to say to me.
You don't know why I sent for you?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
Well, it was quite a story you wrote. I never read a more vivid description of a man being put to death. Our wire service wasn't as eloquent. Just gave us the facts. You were almost right. They'd gotten as far as testing the current before the governor granted this reprieve. Cartwright's waiting for you.